good morning for some and good afternoon for others. Welcome to this special Island Stat Sports Talk. I'm your host, Earl Based, and joining me is none other than Donna Raynor, the former president of the Bermuda National Athletic Association, who is now a council member for the World Athletics. Donna, thank you very much for joining me from Tokyo, I must say.
Yep.
Uh,
In
yeah,
the afternoon.
yes. Not to panic, though. Not to panic. Don, I really wanted to talk to you about some of the things that have come up in in athletics. You know, from the general counsel point of view, one of the main things was um, having females have a gender test done,
Mhm.
and for these games, we saw quite a few um, people have the test done. Well, pretty much everybody's had the test done, but
Mhm. Mhm.
coming to these understandings in these council meetings and behind closed doors to make sure that it's a level playing field. What is, well, without giving too much detail, but what are those type of discussions like?
Well, the discussions, the way that they start, we have different committees and commissions. So one of our commissions, which is transgender, DSD, and of course females, the discussion, and I sit on that commission. So the discussion was around how do we protect the female category. So there was much discussion, as I'm sure you've seen in the press, about the transgenders, the DSD. And so basically, what we proposed to the council, so that's how it would happen. A commission or committee would send a proposal to the council, and then we would discuss that proposal. We either everyone agrees, disagrees, and then it goes to a vote. So after the situation at the Olympics with the female boxers,
Mhm.
we felt that it would make more sense if we can test our athletes up front, versus things happening when the athletes arrive at the competition, and it becomes a really a media circus, and it's not good for the athlete, it's not good for the federation. So our thoughts were, okay, let's do gender testing prior to the competition so that we know once we get to the competition, everyone, and we had 100% tests completed for this event. And we were quite pleased because we did give them a very short window, but everyone complied. So every female athlete that is here has passed and had their gene tests. So as I said, we decided to do it upfront versus having it happen at the event.
Yeah. One of the things, is it a one-time thing or is it an event thing? I wasn't sure about how that came out.
It's a one-time thing, or once you're a female, you're a female. There's only one chance to do it in your lifetime. I mean, I remember I even mentioned Debbie tell me, "Oh, I remember when I had to take that gene test." So it's once in a lifetime. You have to do it.
Okay. All right. So on to other things.
Mhm.
What else
Mhm.
is new coming out of World Athletics that will trickle down? We will see even to the Bermuda level.
Mhm. Um, I'm just trying to think what I mean. It's so much going on right now. I'm just trying to think, what are some of the major decisions that we made. I mean, in in our discussions, one of the main areas that we always have much discussion on is competition. Changing rules, changing regulations in competition. Some things go through and some things don't go through. As you know, one of the areas that we have worked on and improved is the 4x100 mixed relay.
Mhm.
We tried it at the World Relays in Bahamas, and at that point in time, we just let people put, females, males wherever they wanted. We found that that really did not work. So we've agreed the order of the relays, which is male, female, and that's in the 4x1 and 4x4. So that's one of the decisions that that we've come up with this console. So for every mixed relay going forward, at this point in time, it will be ordered male, female, male, female. And you would have seen that in the 4x4 mixed relay. I'm just trying to think in my mind. As I said, we've had so many meetings. Let's get on to gender leadership. I'm involved with the transfer of allegiance. We've had several meetings on that, and that's ongoing. We're looking at policies and so on and so forth with that. And we haven't even put a lot of those proposals to the council as yet. So, I mean, we just have so much, and I can't at this point in time I can't even remember half of the things that we approved at council, because we go through, and also it wasn't just at council. So what happens is we approve different proposals at council, and because we had a Congress this year, then all of those proposals that we have approved at the council level has to go forward to the Congress. And of course, that's 214 member federations that sit in Congress, and they have to go through and approve all of these different proposals that we put forward as well. So it goes from the executive board, and then it comes to council. Well, first it starts with the commission or the committee. It goes to the executive board. From the executive board, it comes to council. And then if we're having a Congress, and if we're not having a Congress, it still has to go to the member federations for them to approve it, or if they have questions or whatever. So that's kind of the process that we go through. And as I said, there are several things that we did discuss that will come out. So it's not up to me to talk about them now until they have been released to the media. Yeah. No, I'm not trying to get myself in trouble, Earl.
And I don't want to get you in any trouble either.
As you know, the gene test is out there. They're aware of that. So that's up for discussion.
Thank you. As a council member, you're sitting there watching these athletes perform every evening and so forth. Mm-hmm. Seeing a Bermudian compete in the 400 meters, you see Caitlin Bob. As a council member, mm-hmm. what joy does that give you to see a fellow Bermudian, after a number of years, mm-hmm. be on the track taking part?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was. I'll use my word I always use. It was absolutely awesome. And I think for each of us as council members, even though in reality we're not representing a country, we still, root for our athletes from our countries. And as you said, it's a proud moment when you see one of your athletes, because that's one of the first questions people ask you. Oh, how many athletes do you have at this competition? So, for us, they all know we're a very small island. Mm-hmm. And, to just say, oh, I have one, and she's young. She's just graduated out of university, and she'll be competing in the 400 meters. And I think she performed very well. I sent her congratulations right after the race. I was quite proud of her in that 400, because she was not outclassed or anything. She was right in the race. So to sit up and see, one of your homegrown athletes participate at a world championships is a very, very proud moment. And the good thing about our council is that we all support each other. So if someone has, we have one of our council members, her daughter participated in the 400 yesterday in the semifinals, and we all root for her daughter. Mm-hmm. So we all root for each other's competitors as well. So for me, okay, we have a competitor too. So that's a great feeling. That is a very great feeling.
Sure. What if any discussions are there to help improve numbers in track and field globally, especially in small countries like Bermuda? What is there any talk about how we can attract more athletes or more people to get involved in the sport?
Well, we do have right now. We have a World Athletics plan, and in that plan, it talks about we have 4 pillars: more participation, more fans, and more sponsors. And what is the 4th one? I can't remember. But so basically, that is a goal of every federation, to increase the number of athletes, to increase the number of fans that come out, to increase participation, and to increase sponsorship. So that is one of our our goals, and that was a 8-year plan. We now have 2 years left to go. So there is always much discussion about how can we do that. And one of the ways that we do it is starting with kids athletics. And Bermuda, we have done a few things with kids athletics. So basically, what they're trying to promote is kids as they come into the sport to expose them to every single event, so that hopefully you'll be able to identify athletes that have a talent in throwing or have a talent in jumping or talent in running. So that is the crux of having kids athletics events. Every year there's a kids athletics day. Bermuda participated. We didn't participate specifically on that day, but that is one of the areas that we're looking at, trying to increase the numbers. Also, remember, road running falls under world athletics as well. So in reality, Bermuda's doing a good job with that because, as you know, we have several road races. We have the big January event, the Bermuda Marathon, and then we have Bermuda Day. We have that marathon. So from that standpoint, Bermuda's doing really well with the road running side. I think from the track side, we definitely need to kind of improve some. Like I say, starting with the kids athletics, identifying that talent, and kind of bringing them into the fore. One thing that we talk a lot about when we talk about kids athletics is working with the education system, to see if we can bring kids athletics into the education system so that the kids can start learning all of these different events earlier in school. So I know at one time, because Jarita Vickers is basically the head of our kids athletics. She went through all of the training, and I know she has been working with the youth and sport department, to see how we can integrate what we have with World Athletics was with what they have at youth and sport. So that is definitely a major discussion of increasing participation, especially in the smaller countries like ours.
The region, our region is, it gets a lot of publicity because we've always got, athletes that are shining, standing out. But can we see more events kind of in the region, amongst the region, to increase that? Because I think we have Carifta, we have different events, but can we see like smaller events that athletes could possibly go to give them that inspiration to stay in the sport and get better, because they're competing against different people at different times?
Yeah, that is has been one of our major discussions in our NECAC area, because as when people say athletics, I guess the viewership of athletics needs to be improved or increased. But when you look at the meets that are over in Europe, I don't think you very seldom see a European meet that's not well attended, and so that's something that we need to look at in our area. As you said, there has been an attempt to have a circuit in the US, and we knew where that went. So that's a discussion that we've had. How can we have our own circuit in our NECAC area where our athletes don't have to travel overseas? And I think part of the problem right now is it's all about funding. These athletes, this is their life, this is their profession. So for us to be able to do that, we have to have the funding, to be able to pull off something like that. Europe has been doing this for years and years and years. So, they're pretty much well tuned, when it comes to their European championships, pack. We're trying to get there. So we've had meetings when we had our area championships. We had meetings with our member federations to say, what can we do in our area to improve on, meets in our area? So we came up with several ideas that we need to look at putting in place. How can we improve our sponsorship in our area so that we can have money and funds to offer the athletes so that they want to come and participate in our region? So that, Earl, is a discussion that we have in our NECAC area on a regular basis, what can we do to improve athletics in our area? Because as I said, the Europeans have it down to a T.
Mm,
We're still trying to figure out what formula is going to work for our area.
yeah. When you put your hand up to become a council member and accept that offer, did you think it was as much as it is the commitment and so forth? Thank God you're retired, huh?
Thank God I retired, and that's the reason I retired, Earl. In all honesty, is because I recognized that I could not do both. Um,
Mm,
even here, and my son, my husband, and my brother are here, and they just laugh because I'm just running from meeting to meeting to meeting. Um, we have documents that we have to read, especially when we're coming up to a council meeting. We have like 20 to 30 documents that we have to read, and we have to understand them, because when we get in council meeting and we talk, you want to be part of the discussion.
mhm.
You want to be saying, oh no, I agree with this, or I don't agree with this, and if I don't, this is the reason why. So you need to make sure that you are up on the information that has been sent to you. When you get on the council, you're also assigned commissions and committees. So I am the chairperson of the transgender committee. I sit on the development commission. I sit on the general gender leadership commission. Because I am a World Athletics council, I also sit on NECX council, and I head up the gender leadership committee for NACAC as well. So once you are part of the council, you don't just sit on the council, you're also assigned committees and commissions as well. So no, when I went on there, I definitely didn't think it was as much work as it is. That's for sure. And I mean, this is my first time being at a World Athletics event and being a council member. And as I said to you, I have meetings 7 o'clock in the morning. I have meetings 8 o'clock. I have a meeting tonight at 6:30. Before the track meet starts. Tomorrow morning I have an 8:30 meeting, and then Friday I have a meeting at 2 o'clock. So all in between there, I'm trying to, like yesterday, I just took a break. I said because we had information sessions and stuff yesterday, and I was like, I just need a break. So we all went to Disney World yesterday, and I enjoyed myself, Dory, because I just needed a wind on. So my husband laughs. He says, to me, it looks like you're doing more now that you're supposed to be retired than you're doing commercial stuff. And that's for real. On this trip, it's been really crazy. Like I said, this is my first experience as a council member at an athletics championship. So this was definitely, baptism by fire.
Yeah, yeah. As a former athlete,
Mhm.
um, and I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody on the council has been a former athlete or been in the sport for quite some time.
Mhm.
Um, when you look back at when you were competing and now what you're trying to put in place for athletes, how successful do you think you guys can be in making sure that what you were asking for when you were competing, you're providing for the athletes now who are competing?
I think it's a good thing for all of us as council members. I mean, everyone that sits on the council was an athlete. Whether they were an Olympian, whether they went to Commonwealth, Pan Am Games, or whatever. All of us were. So it's very easy for us to sit back when things are proposed to us, and we say, as an athlete, would we want that, or would we appreciate that? There have been some proposals that come to us that we've totally turned on, and it's like, no, I don't see where that's going to help the sport. I don't see where it's going to help the athlete. So I think with us having an athletic background, several of us were presidents, and some of them are still presidents of different associations. So we kind of know, what the athletes need, to be at their best.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing, because as I said, when they propose stuff, you could say, I don't think that's gonna go over well. And we also have the chairperson of the athletes commission that
Yeah.
sits on the council as well. They have two automatic seats on the council. So basically, sometimes when we talk about things, especially that's really going to affect the athlete, or we're changing an event, the athletes council, they will go back and they will discuss it with their commission, and then they'll come back to us and say, okay, we talked to the athletes we sent out a survey, or however they did it. And this is kind of the responses that we got back. So sometimes we get those responses and we say, okay, we better put this to the side because it's not going to work. Or they will come back and say, oh, the athletes are excited. This is a great idea, and we push it forward. And one of the simple things that we put in place was like with the long jump. Long jump, now we have automatic. When you get to the World Athletics events, you have automatic fouls. You don't have to have someone sitting there looking at the board. Basically, similar to when you watch tennis and they have the automatic fouls. We now have the automatic fouls for long jump and triple jump. So there's no controversy. The athlete don't have to say, I need to look at the board and see, so on and so forth. So things like that, that's enhancing the sport, and also bringing more technology into the sport. That's one of the areas that we talk about constantly. How can technology, how can AI help us to better our sport? So everything that we do is looking at bettering the sport. And as I said, as we all know, using technology will always better anything that you're doing these days. So, we have to be up on all of that information as well.
Well, I want to thank you. I know you're very, very busy, but I want to thank you for joining me this morning, this afternoon, to wherever anybody is right now listening and watching. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to say, Earl, and I hope most people are watching the championships and enjoying the championships. One of the decisions that we made was we want to have our championships at the end of the season. All the diamond leagues are finished, everything's finished. So basically, the goal for the athletes is our World Athletics Championships, and next year, of course, we have the Ultimate Championships. And if you look at the competition, I don't think I've ever seen a championships where the competition has been so fierce in every event. Every night is just thrilling to sit up and watch these athletes compete. And I think it's because they know, okay, this is the end of the season. I'm going to give it 100. I want to be the world champion. It's just been extremely, extremely great to sit down and watch this competition. And I've been to other world championships, and I have to say this has definitely been hands down the best.
Well, yeah, I've been watching. There's been some very interesting competitions going on. The battles before, during, and after.
Exactly.
Which only makes it more exciting.
And surprises.
Oh, yes.
There's been a lot of surprises.
But that's what it's all about. In order to have that, you have to have the competition.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Safe travels once you're finished. Safe travels back to Bermuda for some R&R, and then back to work.
Look, I don't have to get up and go work the next day. So don't R&R.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Donna. Enjoy the rest. Okay.
Okay. Thank you much. Okay. Bye-bye.